Hello and welcome back to another UCL Fantasy video. Today we're taking a look at everything that you need to know if you are using your Limitless Chip for match day 4. So we're going to look at the fixtures, the best and worst ones. We're going to look at the best players that you can get from the teams with the good fixtures, of course, and then we're going to have a draft at the end as well. We're also going to have clean sheet odds as well, goal odds and stuff, everything that you are going to need to know if you are using the Limitless this week. So when we're looking at the Limitless fixtures, of course, this team is just for match day 4. You don't have to worry about anything else. We're literally just building the only team with an unlimited budget just for match day 4. So we obviously want to be targeting the best fixtures, and personally, if I have to be totally honest, I don't think it is the best week to use a Limitless Chip because, as you can see, it's really only Dortmund and Barca that have good fixtures that also have expensive players that you can really make a good use of the Limitless Chip. But obviously, if you have maybe a full team of players that obviously have bad fixtures that we can see just below, we've got 8 teams that have popular players in them that all have poor fixtures, then I suppose it can make some sense, you know, to use your Limitless, go target some of the lower teams and then obviously get all your expensive players back for match day 5, which obviously all had bad match day 4 fixtures. So there is some method to it, but this is just kind of if you are using it. I'd definitely be looking obviously at the best fixtures where, you know, you're probably targeting Borussia Dortmund and Barca. But if you want to go for some cheaper players, you know, Limitless isn't all about using the budget, it's also about targeting the best fixtures for one match day. You also get Shakhtar there, you've also got Feyenoord in there, and of course Brest as well. So Brest have Sparta Prague, Barcelona have Red Star, Feyenoord with Salzburg, Shakhtar have Young Boys at home, and then Dortmund have Sturm Graz at home as well. So based on those fixtures, of course, Dortmund and Barca also topping the clean sheet odds for this week, followed by Bayern Munich, who are playing against Benfica at home. Now, it isn't classed as an easy fixture. They are, I believe, orange on the fixture ticker, but according to the clean sheet odds, they do still have a pretty decent chance of doing well this week. They're slightly followed by Real Madrid at 37%. PSG, who are playing against Atletico Madrid, have a 36% chance of a clean sheet this week, followed by Feyenoord at 35%, and then everyone else is roughly in the 30s or below. So we're really looking at Feyenoord and above when we're picking defenders this week. You probably don't want to pick any defenders other than that, so you're really just looking at players from the 6 teams we've got. Again, primarily looking at the green ones with Dortmund, Barcelona and Bayern. These are the 3 teams that we are going to be purely focusing our Limitless team on because they do have the best odds, which you're just going to see in a minute. When it comes to goal odds, and that's going to be again Dortmund, Barcelona and Bayern with the highest there, with over 50% chance of scoring 3 or more goals. So we're going to be making a Limitless draft here towards the end, and it's going to have 3 Dortmund players in it, it's going to have 3 Barca players in it, and it's also going to have 3 Bayern players in it. But also Real Madrid are sitting at 4th. They aren't right up with the other 3, but they are 4th place, so Real Madrid are probably a team that you do also want to be considering. They also have AC Milan at home this week too. Now Liverpool are at 35%, and once again Feyenoord are at 35% as well. The only problem with Feyenoord, yes, they have a good fixture, but they don't really have any expensive players. You could go for a Malambo, but he's more of a wild card option. You know, he's the cheapest midfielder in the game at 4.5 million. Is still a decent pick. You know, as I mentioned, Limitless isn't all about the budget, so you could go for him as well. But obviously, you do want to be focusing more on those expensive players. So speaking of those key players, these are obviously the 5 teams that had the good fixtures for this week. We've got Dortmund, Shakhtar, Feyenoord, Barcelona and Brest. So these are the players that I would pick from each of these teams, or at least the top 3, in no order whatsoever. These are just the 3 players I think are the best. Now you'll see that Feyenoord and Shakhtar only have 2. It's because I didn't really think they had enough players that were good enough to really make any lists. So for Dortmund, I've got Guirassy, Can and Gittins. I believe they are the best 3 that you can go for, followed closely by like a Schlotterbeck. I think if you want to maybe not go for the Dortmund attacker, Schlotterbeck's going to be your best option. For Shakhtar, I've got Matvienko and Sudakov. Sudakov, obviously, if you played Euro Fantasy, you'll know how much of a pain he was, but he was really nice last year in UCL Fantasy. I believe it was last year, it could have been the year before. As a midfielder, a decent pick if you want to go for an attacker from Shakhtar. But Matvienko is a really nice option. He's only 4.7 million, Doesn't matter with the Limitless, but he is only 4.7 million. A really nice fixture, obviously, against Young Boys, and he picked up player of the match in match day 1 as well. So if he gets a clean sheet, he can get ball recoveries as well. So I think Matvienko could do quite well, and I believe he's got 2 goals and 2 assists as well this season. I could be totally wrong on that. I believe it is 2 goals and 2 assists in the league this year as a centre back, which is a really nice pick. So he'd be a very big differential if you were to go there, but that's just if you really wanted a Shakhtar player. Malambo, again, 4.5 million, nailed in the midfield for Feyenoord, scored 2 goals in the previous match. Another nice option with Salzburg. And then Hanko, a defender for Feyenoord, picks up some nice ball recoveries if you wanted to go for a defender. Again, we're pretty high on the clean sheet odds list. For Barcelona, it's pretty, obvious who the 3 players are going to be. It's going to be your front 3 because Barcelona are scoring a ton of goals right now. So we've got Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski. Personally, I wouldn't be looking at a limitless draft without these 3 players. I think if you're starting from a blank slate, these are the 3 players you put in first. Yamal goes in, Rafinha goes in, Lewandowski goes in. They're playing against Red Star. Obviously would be more preferable if it was a home fixture, but I think they're still very capable in an away fixture. Definitely expecting them to score at least 2 or 3, and obviously Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski are going to be the ones mainly involved in that, so definitely would be looking there. Then for Brest, I've got Haidara, who's a 4 million defender. He is again more of a wild card pick, but he is still a key player in UCL Fantasy. I've got Bizo, who is the goalkeeper, and then Sima, who is really the one who's been scoring the goals for Brest in the Champions League. If you wanted to look more at the leagues, it is Del Castillo, who is also a midfielder for Brest, who is really doing the best in the league, but Sima's been the one in the Champions League. Personally, I don't think I'd look at Brest too much. I don't really think they have any standouts. They have been performing well, but again, these are just the players that I would pick if you wanted to go there. So with all that in mind, this is a limitless draft that I have put together. It is 6.6 million over budget, so again, a nice use of that limitless for Matchday 4. And I believe it's a really nice team. It's very similar to the wildcard team that I put out yesterday with a couple of upgrades, obviously trying to use that budget. So we've got Vinicius Jr. in here, and again, has been brilliant. He scored a hat-trick, or was it even 4? No, I think it was a hat-trick in Matchday 3. Obviously Real Madrid sitting 4th for odds to score 3 or more goals, so definitely want to get an attacker in there. I think Vinicius is definitely the one to go for over Mbappe. Get Lewandowski and we've got Kane, 2 nailed players. I think that is the front 3 that you want, I think, for this match day. The other one being Gurase, who we picked in the limitless draft. That's 4 of your strikers from the 4 teams with the highest chance of scoring the most goals. So personally, I'm going these 3. You could always change to Gurase if you wanted to. In midfield, again, making nice use of the limitless budget with Foden, Musiala, Rafinha, Yamal. Get Gittins in there as well. Ideally I would have Adeyemi in there, but he's not going to be fit. So Gittins is probably your most attacking Dortmund midfielder, and I think he's a really nice pick despite the fact that he is that cheap. I always feel like you feel a bit bad going for a cheaper player on a limitless because you feel like you shouldn't, and it's a bit of a waste. But at the end of the day, I still think Gittins is fantastic value and is one of the players that can do the best in Matchday 4, and that's really all that matters. So obviously Yamal and Rafinha that we've already spoken about. Musiala just came back from injury, picked up a hat-trick in the cup during the week, so definitely one I would like to pick. I think he'll be nailed on for the Champions League. Then obviously Foden, who's done really well in the UCL as well. Now in defence, I've went for the double Dortmund defence in Schlotterbeck and Can. I'm pretty sure both of them are, nailed. Can obviously got the benching in Matchday 3, but expecting him to be back in the squad. Schlotterbeck's essentially the most nailed player in the Dortmund team, so happy with that. Like I said, I think it's the best 3 that you can go for outside of obviously Gurase, who we have replaced with Vinicius Jr. Get Kim in there for the ball recoveries and also covering off that Bayern defence, so have a high chance of a clean sheet. Rudiger, again, as I mentioned, a nice chance of a clean sheet for Real Madrid. He's definitely the best one you can go for. Obviously Carvajal previously had that crown, but has now picked up an injury which keeps him out till the end of the season, so Rudiger is now probably the best Real Madrid defender you can get. Then we've got Kanji in there as well. Now I was very torn on who to go for this spot. I was quite tempted by a Matvienko, to be honest, but I've ended up going for a Kanji. Picks up ball recoveries, he's basically nailed in that team as well, and he's a lot more stable. Like he's a more solid pick than Matvienko, but was very, very close to going for Matvienko in there. So yeah, as always, still a nice option. Then in goals, I went for Courtois in day one and Martinez in day two. Obviously, Courtois is the highest clean sheet odds of the teams that we haven't tripled up on, and then Martinez in day two. Villa have yet to concede a goal in their first 3 match days in the UCL, so happy enough to continue on with that. And these are the dates for each of our players. Again, kind of trying to split it up as much as possible. The only players that we have playing on Wednesday is going to be our Bayern players and our Barca players, and then of course Martinez in goal. So we've got 7 players on day 2, which means we've got 8 players on day 1. So everyone else playing that doesn't play for Barca or Bayern is going to be playing on day 1, which is obviously very essential in trying to not cause yourself a substitute headache. So that's my team for our Limitless. Again, not really too sure how many people are going to be playing the Limitless for this week, but if you are, wish you the best of luck. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe as well for lots more for UCL Fantasy content, and I'll see you all in the next one.